behind an accident and B, go to the wrong place. First, I would like to thank you. I have a couple of I want to start, if I can, by thanking Dr. Bush. I think he already walked out the door. No, there he is. Frank said something that I think is very important, and I hope everyone heard it, because it was just a small clip of what he said when he talked about debate and discussion about where we'll be going. And folks, I think that's an incredible message. And Frank, I want to thank you for talking about that, because you know what? It's a debate that needs to happen. It's the right debate at the right time. And frankly, we appreciate the fact everyone now is engaging in that debate. So, Frank, thank you very much. I want to start with a poem, because in case you didn't know, in the last week, we began a relationship with your state PTA officers where the state superintendent will meet on a regular basis with representatives of the Parent-Teacher Association. And we think that is a tremendous step forward as we hear the voices of parents and the voices of the groups working inside our schools. So I want to thank your organization for making that possible, because it was really due to your efforts that led to that. When I think about why and the importance of PTA and the importance of community ownership, I'd like to start with a short poem. And it's a poem that I got out of a book written by a lady named Pat Davenport. And those of you who are from Warren Township, I know you have heard this poem. So I'll ask you to indulge me and beg your forgiveness if you probably are bored from it. But it starts like this. It goes like this. As the college professor said, such rawness in a student is a shame. Lack of preparation in high school is to blame. Said the high school teacher, good heavens, that boy's a fool. The fault, of course, is with the middle school. The middle school teacher said, from stupidity may I be spared. They sent him to me so unprepared. The primary teacher huffed, kindergarten blockheads all. They call that preparation. Why, it's worse than none at all. The kindergarten teacher said, such lack of training never did I see. What kind of mother must that woman be? The mother said, poor helpless child, he's not to blame, his father's people were all the same. Said the father at the end of the line, I doubt that little rascal's even mine. And you know, that's a funny little poem. But you know, in many instances, and I think Frank hit upon it, in many instances, I think that's where we are in education. We have found a good way to pass the blame all the way down the line. We blame great teachers. You know, I had the opportunity last night to spend in one of our school corporations that has one of our failing schools, one of our struggling schools. And the first question asked of me when we got to the community involvement piece was, how do we get parents involved? How do we get community buy-in into our school, because that's so important? And I want you to know, my response was, I would suggest you get involved with your PTA. So if you folks start hearing from Lakebridge, you'll know why. I hope there's a royalty on these dudes. And seriously, we talked about that, the strategies and how important it is to have ownership and buy-in from parents, and how top-performing schools have that, and how ownership and involvement from parents leads to top-performing schools. It's kind of a positive feedback loop that just keeps perpetuating success. And the reason I led with that poem is that's how we have to think about this. I think Frank's right. The blame game has to stop. We got to start looking for solutions. There's plenty of blame to find. You know, I told teachers last night, I apologize to teachers, and I said this at our meeting the other day with your Parent-Teacher Associations. You know, as we have worked to generate the debate Frank talked about, I think it's fair to say I can be found guilty of sometimes looping our greatest teachers, who are our greatest resources when it comes to working with children besides parents, in with our poorest performing teachers. Sometimes our great teachers get lost as we try to address the instruction of our lower performing teachers. And I apologize for that. And I think that's the value of the Parent-Teacher Association. We need to uphold great teaching. We need to uphold the need for ownership in Indiana schools. And we need to uphold the need, as was talked about last week in the meeting, the changes we need to make in education without throwing professionals, without throwing people under the bus. So I think Frank's right. I think the train of school change, school reform, if you will, that train's moving. I think our guest from Tennessee probably sees it the best, as they were the recipient of one of the Race to the Top grants. School reform is happening nationally. And we can make a choice. We can either drive the train, we can get on the back of the train and ride the caboose, or folks, we can see the bottom of the train as it runs over us. But it's going to happen. And I appreciate the fact that the Indiana PTA wants to lead and be on the front of that train with us. And I think that the involvement of parents statewide with great teachers helping create great schools will be the key to Indiana being a great education state. And I appreciate what you do. I apologize for being late. I'll serve my attention. What they're going to do is they're going to make me stand outside in the parking lot with Frank for a half hour. So folks, again, thank you for being here. Thanks for your passion for education, your love for great teaching, your willingness to work with great teachers, and your willingness to want to make Indiana schools the best they can be. Thank you very much.